I got the bar all welded into the rollback, so that's ready to go outside and get flipped over with the tractor. We'll run over to the smaller shop and see what Slim's up to on his Slim's Fury, because he's up here for the weekend, so he's busy getting his rockers and stuff prepped to weld them into the car. So we'll check on him and see what he's up to, and then I'll get the tractor and everything ready to where we can swap that bed around. I found a nut cert for that, $6.50. What are you doing over here with your camera pointed at the ground?
I don't know, it keeps doing that. What are you doing?
I got my rollback welded, so I got to get it all rigged up.
I just got this welded too.
Welded?
Yeah.
Well, did you have some spots that you missed? He can see he's got these welded up. They're going to go into the rocker panels of his 56 over here. Go down along here. He's got a lot of work to do on that car. Okay, Slim's over there. He's spray painting those rockers that he's building. Let that dry. It's getting windy enough that setting the rollback might be kind of fun. Might have to hold off on that until tomorrow morning when it's not so windy. So I'm going to jump over here on the Crown Vic. I'm going to go ahead and pull the hood off of it because that's just going to be in the way. I'll get the 2 posts under it. I'll take it up in the air enough that I can get the radiator draining. Have a look underneath it as to exactly what I need to do on the bottom side. Then I'll lower the car back down and we'll start disconnecting everything on the top side. We'll get this car tore down, and we'll get rub air float drug home and get all of the mouse dung cleaned out of it so that it can go in the YouTube shop over there, so that I can bang that one out in the evenings in the upcoming weeks. So we'll have to get it over there, and then I'll have to get a King Ranch seat found and bought and on its way, so that we have a nice leather seat to put in it. So I'm going to get to work on this car, and I'll bring you back when I'm starting to pull stuff off of the top side. The hood's off, and we got the car up in the air. Slim was here and helped me throw the hood off, and I sent him back over to the little shop to get the antifreeze tub. This is exactly why that section of wall there needs a hole in it, and we need to be able to go from this shop to that shop so that it doesn't take 10 minutes to walk all the way around both buildings and then come back into the other building and be 10 feet from where you started out to grab something. Okay, somebody didn't shoot any footage of it. It got dark on us. We have all the lights on. We got the bed turned over, set up on the 93 Freightliner. We were kind of hard on a few pieces and parts of it, getting it flopped back over, but it's heavy and not real easy to maneuver. So you can put the tractor.
Do you want me to move that to 50 somewhere else?
No, I don't think we need to do it right now. Once I get it all operational and everything, then I'll try and drive it enough that it starts easier. Keep the batteries and stuff up. She's cherry. I don't have a lot of money wrapped up in it though. The truck was cheap and the bed was fairly cheap. The PTO cost a lot of money to get it operational. I tried to put a engine driven pump on it, but They didn't make one. This right here at the end of the frame is where I'll have to put my plates in, and then there's 2 bolts that go in through the back way up high here. I'll have to see if I can find the plates that I built years ago, and if I can't, I'll have to cut a couple of new ones and get that mounted up. But she's on there. It's definitely progress. I had Slim grab the camera, and then when we got busy, there was no footage of the going on, so not a big deal. You guys missed out, but it was dark and we were both busy, you know, moving around and stuff, so it's probably as well that we didn't shoot any video of it. The truck that this bed was originally on burnt to the ground. I'm not too sure the shop didn't burn. It sounded like this truck and another one burnt to the ground. It was bad enough up here by the cab that he replaced all the hoses on the front. It got hot. All of the plastic bushings and stuff like that for the controls, they got melted. The first thing that I'm going to use this truck for is hauling hay. I plan on building a hitch that'll go in the wheel lift, and then I'll hook my gooseneck flatbed to that. So I'll load the truck with round bales, and then I'll load the trailer with round bales. I'll be able to haul almost twice as much hay that way, rather than I always hauled it on the flatbed behind a pickup. The pickup was a little overworked and the brakes were way overworked on the pickup doing that. I know everybody does it all the time, but if you have a bigger, heavier truck like this, it's a lot easier on everything. That's all I got for you right now. Okay, start of a new day here on Customs by J-Mac. Back on the rollback. So I found the plates that I found one of the plates that I cut years and years ago. I don't know why both of them weren't there. They were always on the toolbox that my lathe sits on. But I found one of them. I must have cut this out to fit to like cap the end of the frame on the Freightliner. It looks like when we put this back on here and we got it up against the stops here on the front where the lock is, we're not quite tight against that where it bottoms out. We hit the end of the frame with this 1/4 inch plate. If I put it on the end of the frame instead of in the frame, that's going to push us back another 1/4, and I don't really want to do that. I can't find the other plate. It must be over at my other shop. I'm going to try. I want to have this come up with a ball for my flatbed trailer so that I can pull the flatbed trailer behind this so I can haul hay like I've said before. So in order to do that, I need to cut some plate and build some stuff. So I need to be able to put a 1/4 inch sheet on my plasma table, and I have all of this stuff in the way. Wrestling that 4x8 1/4 inch sheet of metal by myself is almost impossible, but then by the time you get back here to where my table's at, I don't have any room. So I'm gonna have to use the forklift or the bobcat or something like that to get that plate back there. I don't want to bring the engine hoist back over here because I got it over in the other shop where we worked on the Fury, and now I'm pulling the engine out of that F100 over there. So I'll just bring the bobcat or something over here and load that up, but I gotta once again shuffle my shop around and get it to where I can get to my table. That's gonna take me a minute to do because this well truck doesn't have any drive lines on it, and the cooling system and stuff as far as the radiator and all of that isn't in it yet, so I can't just drive it out of the way. And then I'll have to fold the boat up. Slim didn't get the final drive on that while he was here over the weekend, so it's still in pieces. I'll probably spend until lunch just moving stuff around in here. Got it all mounted up, got the hydraulic cylinders and everything. I am now working on a plate here so that I can hook my gooseneck on the back of this truck. This hole, you can see how this one's sitting on here. I plan on putting a piece of heavy walled square tube up through here. That will be my pin as far as it not sliding off of this piece. And then I'll build a bracket, build all my stuff up to where it bolts, sandwiches onto here, and that square tube will be welded to this bottom piece, be pressed up through there, and then it'll bolt on the top. And then I'll be able to unbolt this, take this all off, and put my wheel lift back on here when I want to, whenever that may be. I may not use the wheel lift on this as much because I have the one on the wrecker now. This hole, I was going to use this. This is off of a Curtis flip over ball, but it's too big for the hole, so I was going to turn it down to where it would slide in the hole and leave a good collar on the top to where the ball wouldn't fall through. To replace this, to where I would have because I still have the whole flip over ball assembly for a pickup, to replace this would cost $150, $200, somewhere like that. I got to looking, and if I were to do that, not only would I be out that ball, but this has a great big bronze bushing. That bronze bushing isn't as big around as that cylinder for that ball is. So with a load on here, the chances are it would push that bushing out. The only way to combat that would be to put a big, like 1/2-inch plate or something here on the top to fight that. And then I'd have to drill a hole down here and run a pin through it, kind of like your flip over ball does. I don't have access to, my lathe isn't big enough. I don't have one yet that's big enough to do that. It's coming. It's like on the wish list. I think I can make this one work. I don't have to wait around to have access to the lathe or anything. And this ball is about 1/8 of an inch too small. So if I were to take this apart and use that ball, it would be loose in that hole. And I'm not even sure. This is the old style that you pull up on this and then the ball flips down into it. I gotta do that. I need to wire the lights on this. I might bring you back when I have the plate mount kind of roughed in to show you exactly what I was talking about. But it's not gonna be a rollback yet. I don't have any of the hydraulics from the PTO pump back to the bed. All of my controls are all still locked together. So there's still some work to do before it becomes a rollback. Right now it's just a big flatbed truck. So I'll get on this hitch here, make that work. It already has a small trailer hitch light hookup. It's not in very good shape, but I need that for my gooseneck. So if that's already wired into the flatbed, that'll save me wiring that up. So I'll get to plugging away on this. I'll bring you all back when I have that roughed up, and we'll see how it looks. Okay. It's probably kind of hot. Fresh out of the oven, and it's hot. If I didn't have gloves on, I wouldn't be able to touch it, that's for sure. So that piece is supposed to go right there like that. However, it's kind of like I was afraid of. I'm gonna have to make a slight adjustment. This here, right here, is way too long, and it's way too long down here on the bottom too, so back to the drawing board on that one. But Gotta start somewhere. So I'll go cut another piece. That piece that I built before, it looked like this blue line. So I remarked my line and I overlaid the cut path over top. And then I just laid my piece back in here and shimmed it up with these pieces of metal that I've already cut. And then I just cut that much off. So instead of wasting that whole piece, you just have that little bit there that isn't right, but it just cut that out just slick as greased something or other. I don't remember how that goes. But now this one fits perfect. Now this other side is going to be different because this whole piece over here hangs out, so we're going to have to cut the square out of it. So I'll have to add that to it. But the beveled part of it here is almost identical to the width of this wheel lift arm. So I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to do this. I think probably the strongest way would be to weld these plates right to this plate here. They'll come down, and then I'll put some brackets to it with a flat plate. That square tube will weld on there too, so this whole thing will slide down in here. And then I'll just build this to where the bottom of these side plates has a flange, and then there'll be like 2 bolts on each side here that you'll just unbolt those 4 bolts, take this plate off, and then lift this plate off. This square tube will go down through here, and it'll actually go down through that bottom plate. So this is going to be extremely locked in right where it's at. But I think I'm just going to modify this plate itself, and we'll just weld these side plates and everything onto it. So that'll just become one piece like that that'll slide down over it, bolt on, and we'll have a flip over gooseneck hitch on the back of my rollback. Real quick and easy, not dirty. I'm liking it. I can gusset the heck out of it, and I can make it to where it's way, way stronger than anything that you have in the back of your pickup. So that's what I'm looking for. So I'll design this next plate. I'll get it cut out. We'll get to welding, and we'll see what we come up with. I just thought I'd show you that trick on the plasma table there, that handy little accident that I had. I Bob Rossed the living crap out of it, so it's all a good deal. Anytime you can make it work, just make it work. You know, admit you made a mistake and just press forward, right? Because we all make mistakes. Maybe, you know, some of us more than others, but I don't know. You can either learn from them or just don't let them bother you. You can learn it again later when you need to. So anyway, having fun here. These plates are cut, fitted up, ready to weld. I had to come in and do a little bit of grinding and make these little dishes because of the welds that are on this plate here. So I got them all fit up. Now that's going to be, when these are squared up, the width of that is 1/8 of an inch wider than this plate. The bottom plate is wider than the top plate, so I'm wondering if I'm going to get by with that. So I'm just going to put like a couple of tacks on these plates so that I can put it on here and see. But you can see that like this is ground smooth, and see how that hangs out, probably 3/8 of an inch on both sides, so they could get that weld on there. I don't think I'm going to get by with that. I'm wondering, I bet I should space this out before I even do this. If I was to space this if I did the 1/4 inch on both sides, that's too much. So I'm wondering if I had a piece of 3/16 that I could throw up there and just cut another one of these plates, but cut it shallow so that it would fit on here tight, and then these would fit down over the bottom lip tight. I'm gonna set this up there and maybe I'll just tip these plates ever so slightly. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna tip them so they'll fit down over that bottom. We'll see how that goes. I don't know if I can set you guys up over here to where you can see. I don't like welding anywhere close to my, because I know the weld splatters will destroy plastic and glass screens. Get my gloves, because it's still a little bit warm. Let's see how this fits. That's gonna fit just fine. I'll hold those up and spot them on, get them to where I won't get a lot of deflection, and then I'll bring them out and do a full weld on them. And then I'll design that bottom plate and everything. This is my square tube pin. I had to grind the edges a little bit to get it to where it'll slide down in there. That fits in there really nice too, so I'm gonna do some welding. That fits in there really good too. That square tube is like, I have the hand gestures on this camera, and I said that it was perfect and gave the sign, and it must have told my camera to stop the recording. You guys are all lopsided. I was wondering why you were all watching like this. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna get to spot welding this. Nothing exciting, so I'll bring you back in the next step. You can see how it fits. This side here has a little bit of a gap, but we'll fix that when we put that piece on there. The other side is pretty much tight. So up here in the front, the box that the ball falls on is sitting on this. There's a good amount of support there, and then the back side of that hits on the front of the arm. The load, you know, that's here is well supported underneath it. Well, I don't think you can see in there. I think I'm gonna leave that alone for now, because I can come back and add to that if I need to. You see how the square tube that I have the ground on here, how that hangs out. So this bottom plate is going to encase that, and then it'll come out here, and there'll be 4 bolts out here. There'll be a flange here, and then that plate will just bolt to it with the 4 bolts. That'll keep this from lifting off. This square tube will keep it located front and rear. These plates are going to keep it from turning and also lock it in left to right and everything. So all in all, I think this is going to be very strong. And I'll get that welded on, and then I have to wire the tail lights on this truck. Then I'm going to hook onto the trailer, and I'll take it over in the field. We'll come back and grab the tractor. We'll load this baby up. We'll do us a test haul and see how it works. Hopefully it doesn't give us any problems, but I don't see that happening. Upward and onward, here we go. Okay, I got all of the plates cut on the plasma cam. Got the square that'll hold on to that square tube under there. I got the truck in here because I had to run back to Napa and get some 3/4 inch nuts for these bolts. I had the bolts, but I didn't have any nuts. I don't know what that's all about. That'll just go right on there like that. We'll weld it up, and then I'll build some gussets that go in here like that, so that that's good and strong and can't get pulled out. I cut these 1/2 inch holes through it. That's just an indexing thing, so when I take this apart and I go to put it back together, If I take the plate off, throw it on the ground, and I go to put it back up there, those holes will tell me how that plate goes. So I don't have to put it up there 2 or 3 times to figure out what orientation it goes in. I don't know if you guys can see on the lights how hazy it is in here. My plasma table's low on water, so it's emitting quite a bit of smoke or metal dust, which I don't care to breathe any more of that than I absolutely have to. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the shop and let that dissipate. I thought in my run to Napa would be enough time that it would clear up, but I did cut all of this, and I cut the plates that go between the mounting flange of the rollback and the caps that I put on the frame yesterday. When I put my hydraulic cylinders on, I needed to push the bed back about 1/4 of an inch, because when I put the cups that the hydraulic cylinders go into, when I put them on there, I had built the plates to go on the back side of the frame. When I built the new ones, I built them to where they went in the frame, because there was a webbing in the frame in 2 different places that I could weld them to it and really beef it up. So in doing that, it pushed that mounting surface ahead just a little bit, and I didn't have the slack on the cylinders. I'm gonna have to put a spacer in there. It's not a big deal. It's just something that I have to do in order for this to work. And I think the amount of strength that I gained by putting those plates in the frame the way I did will be very beneficial. I guess I'll go home and eat or find something else to do outside of this haze. I'll meet you back here when it clears up in the shop. For me, probably a couple hours. For you, well, it'll be like right now. I'm out here in the field. Give you some zoom out action. I've been hauling hay. My contraption that I got all welded up and everything. Got lights. Back into the tractor, and we'll get this truck loaded up, make another load. All right, I'm gonna load this truck, and then I'll bring it back to show you the full load. We're all loaded up. Now I had to raise the hitch on this. I used the wrecker. Came in here and hooked onto this, loosened up my bolts and raised that up this much. And about 6 inches. The jacks, you can imagine, with this that much lower, the jacks were just maybe 4 inches off of the ground. I did not like that, and I didn't want to drag them. You know, when you figure your pivot point on your rear axle and then your pivot point on your tongue, if the front end goes low, it throws that way high, but if the front end comes up, then it pushes that way down, which would affect your jacks in an extreme amount. I just wanted to make sure I had plenty of height on that, so I did that before I hauled that first load. But I'll get this strapped down as much as I need to, get everything to where it's good to go, and then I'll haul it out, dump it off. As far as the rollback truck goes, I think this is a win. We'll finish hauling this, and then I'll bring this back and we'll put a hydraulic tank on it, do the few hoses that it needs to activate the PTO in the hydraulic system. For now, this truck is doing what I needed it to do at the moment. I'll finish this load and 2 more, and then the hay will be hauled off of the field, and then I can put electric fence up so I can throw some cows out here on the corn stalks and stuff. Win on the Freightliner. She's working good. So we'll get this done, and then we'll get back to another project. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next project.